Hello everyone, I'm your host Wei Fang, and welcome to the Wei and Kathy show. And today I'll be your host. So I have two stories to tell you. First is the Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, and what is the what happened there, and what kind of issue this has generated. It's quite a visit, and generated a huge response. The second is Tuesday, yesterday's midterm primary, and which I will report to you the highlights of that. So first, let's talk about this Taiwan visit. I don't know, whether you've been catching up with that, and if you do, write up what's your impression, okay? But it's really like a drama. All right, in Taiwan. So first, before Nancy Pelosi started her trip, she's leading a six congressional member delegation, and all of them are Democrats. So before they left on Sunday, okay, in her publicized itinerary, there's nothing mentioned about Taiwan. So no mention of that. So media has been reporting that no Taiwan there, and will she stop? Will she not? It's becoming an international guessing game. All right, and on the way there, and the first stop was Singapore. Over there, she still did not say whether I'm going to Taiwan or not. So the gas continued. So it lasts for 3 or 4 days, starting on Friday last week, up to Monday. Finally, okay, reporters start to catch on, what's really happened, or things start to leak out, and then Nancy Pelosi seems to be flying to Taiwan. So, okay, then after Singapore, she traveled to Malaysia and stayed there for a few hours, very short time, a few hours. Then on Tuesday night, I'm talking about the Malaysia time, and 3:50 in the afternoon, she embarked a military airplane, and which left Malaysia. And instead of flying directly to Taiwan, which is, across the South China Sea, to the northeast direction, directly. This is a direct line, okay, cross South China Sea and arrive at Taipei. No, the airplane went to the east and flew for quite a while, okay, almost like a 2 to 3 hours flight, more than 1,000 miles. And only after the fly across, to the southeast of Philippines, start to turn north and went to Taiwan. So it's really a big roundabout. Altogether, the flight time is like 6 hours and 40 minutes. As she flew over during that six and a half hours, you know what happened? Because before she came, okay, and the CCP has a very, very belligerent, rhetoric on her coming. And the military of the CCP, the PLA, People's Liberation Army, issued a statement like, we will bury any incoming enemy. And Pelosi's visiting is just like aggression. And then the spokesperson of the China State Department said that our military will not sit by idly. And then Xi Jinping himself told Biden in the virtual conference, saying that don't play with the fire and you will get burned. So on and so forth, okay? And some other, the proxy of the CCP said, his name is Hu Xijing, the Global Times former editor. He said, we'll shoot her down, we'll shoot her airplane down, or our military airplane will escort it as they flew in. And then he also said, our fighter jets will fly over Taiwan, the island of Taiwan. So we are serious, we're not joking. If you don't believe it, wait and see. So all those rhetorics, they've been repeating that for 2 to 3 days, and so in all across China, all this, the Chinese people, the so-called patriotic people, okay, precisely they are called like a little pink heart. Little pink heart is an internet term. So basically, those people who are loyal to the party or either hired by the party. Another name for them is called 50 cents. So basically, back then, the CCP paid them 50 cents to post one thing. One article or one piece of opinion on their version of Twitter, which is called Weibo, okay? So they are called 50 cents. So those 50 cents or the little pink heart, why call them pink heart? Because, CCP is communist, right? Communists, their color is red. So they try to pretend to be, objective people, third party, but they are essentially the CCP's loyalist. and they're fans, so they are called the pink, not completely red, little pink heart, all the 50 cents. So all those people, maybe millions of them, tens of millions of them, I just took a very Ben and Jerry spirit and just waiting for whether Nancy Pelosi dare to fly in, and if she does, how we took her down, things like that. Okay, or at least some major move, some strong move by the party, by our military, will show our strength and will follow through with our threat. Okay, so during that 6.5-hour flight, there was a website which is called Flight Radar 24. Okay, flightradar24.com, and that website can real-time track any airplane flying. So during that 6.5 hours, 500,000 people live at the same time was following the Nancy Pelosi's airplane. So is it big? Is it small? Let me just give you a comparison. Okay, last year when the king of soccer of Argentina, okay, his name is Lionel Messi, if you know, the soccer king. Okay, he's flying from South America to Europe to sign a major deal. His fans all over the world. This is the best, most renowned soccer player in the world. Okay, which is the biggest sports in the world. 140,000 people followed him as he, flew from South America to Europe to sign that big deal contract. And that was the unprecedented, following of the fans. Nancy Pelosi got 500,000, 3 times of that, just watching her airplane and, fly to Taiwan. And what's on those people's mind, right? Can you tell? Okay, what's on their mind? They want to know that whether something is going to happen to that airplane. That's why they keep following that. The traffic was so heavy to the point of it crashed the server. And then the Flight Radar 24 has to reboot their server and then to accommodate all those huge number of eyeballs. Okay, anyway, 6 hours and a half, almost like 5 hours later, the airplane landed in the Songshan airport in Taipei. Okay, nothing happened. Okay, and then Nancy Pelosi stayed there. At that time, you know what? The Weibo, the China's version of Twitter, the commentary section was closed to any IP in China. Well, if you're in the US, you're in Taiwan, you can still post something. But if you are in China, you cannot. You cannot even post in that commentary section, which shall be the most crowded or popular or dynamic area. Nobody can post anything. They shut it down. And okay, so why? Because the CCP did not follow through with anything. They're afraid of the fire they're gonna lit. They have already lit would backfire and just burn themselves up. So they shut down the commentary section. And then as Nancy Pelosi, got off the airplane and meet with the foreign minister Wu Zhaoxie from Taiwan Republic of China or /Taiwan. And then she went to the hotel, a 5-star hotel, stayed there for a comfortable night. The next morning, she came out and visited their 立法院, okay, their Congress, the Taiwan Congress. So she met with Congress, have a very, leisurely talk there, and then have a closed door section. And then she went on to meet with the president of Taiwan, Tsai Ing-wen, the lady that in the front. That's the president of Taiwan. Again, they have a leisurely talk. They have a open ceremony. Then they have a closed door talk. And so it's just Pelosi seems to be taking her time. Afterwards, Pelosi then visited. They have a press conference. Then Pelosi visited a human rights museum in Taiwan. Okay, so after virtually 20 hours of stay, Pelosi flew out of Taiwan at 6 o'clock the next day. Remember, she only stayed in Malaysia for a few hours. So she stayed Taiwan for 20 hours. This is the first time for the U.S. Speaker of the House that visited Taiwan in 25 years. Last time it was Newt Gingrich. And Speaker Gingrich was there for 3 hours, only 3 hours. Then he left. But Pelosi took the time, and during all those duration, nothing happened. The CCP did not make any move. They just shut down the commentary section, and then those that really broke the heart of the little pink hearts. Okay, And those 50 cents people, okay, they were just commenting there, say, would the central government do anything? They would, right? And other comments like, I'm so disappointed. We were so strong. Why didn't we carry through? And so on and so forth, okay? So basically, this time, CCP's move, they make a big joke of themselves in two regards. First, their objection, their fierce objection, their virtually fatal threatening words, and make a big scene of this visit. It became the focus of international media. So it gave Taiwan a lot of exposure, a lot of media exposure, a lot of international exposure. Of course, it also gave Pelosi quite a bit of exposure. And then, people are saying that it's like a second Tiananmen Square for Nancy Pelosi. And then Nancy Pelosi in 1989, she led the protest of CCP, the crackdown of the students on the Tiananmen Square. Okay, and 2 years later, in 1991, she was visiting China with the congressional delegation. She and two other House members, and one Democrat and one Republican, they went to Tiananmen Square. Over there, three of them opened up a little banner. On the banner it said, "We commemorating the people who died, for the democracy," and that's what she did. Okay, so quite a courageous move, and earned her a lot of exposure, media exposure. So now, at the age of 82, almost as the last trip as the Speaker of the House, she's coming to Taiwan and support Taiwan's democracy in a very high-profile way. So it's like a beginning there and an ending here. It's just like her, connecting, finish the loop. But in the meantime, and the CCP was basically just was caught in no action. They didn't do anything. Okay, so the first thing, it gave Taiwan a big exposure. Okay, the second, it make a joke of the CCP themselves because they were so strong. And then they say everything that possibly can be said, but there's no move. Okay, so that's basically the drama. Okay, so people are just making, as the little pink heart was just, shedding tears. They feel so bad and so on and so forth. And the people in Taiwan and out in overseas Chinese were just ecstatic. They say, "Oh boy, this CCP, what kind of situation, what kind of hole they're digging themselves into, and now they cannot climb out." So anyway, that's basically the story there. So Nancy Pelosi left Taiwan. So it's almost like a CCP woke up and they said, "We gotta take a strong retaliation action." So they just announced a 3-day military drill around the island of Taiwan, six regions on the sea, of course, and then those 6 regions are virtually circling Taiwan. So it's like, and this is the first thing. It's the first time CCP's military drill was circling Taiwan from all directions. The second, they were so close to the island. On the north side, if you took note, the most north city is called Keelung. Keelung is a military, it's a Navy port. All right. So the drill zone is only like 10 sea miles from the Keelung Navy port. On the south side of the island is called the Zuoying Navy port. And then the drill zone drawn by the CCP is only 9 sea miles from that. Okay, international law says that close to your 12 sea miles to your coastline is your water. Anybody who come in, then it's aggression. So not only they have these circling drills around Taiwan, they also virtually they are so close. It's a threatening. It's a pressing. It's a literal aggression. They already invade. So of course, Taiwan military is saying that they are guarding tightly. They are being very, very vigilant, and they're waiting for this storm to go through. And in the meantime, like CNN, Washington Post, a lot of U.S. Media commentators, they're saying that it is the retaliation and the pressure will only come after Pelosi's visit is over. Okay, because China is so close, China is so strong, and China have intertwined trading relationship with Taiwan. They got enough weapons. They got enough means to pressure Taiwan and harm Taiwan and hurt Taiwan and so on and so forth. Okay, is that so? Is that so? Maybe, and maybe not. I just want to share with you my observation. Okay, so Taiwan, there's two parties, right? One is called Democratic Progressive Party. The other is called the Nationalist Party. And then the Nationalist Party is pro-China. The Democratic Progressive Party is pro-U.S. And then the latter is trying to seek after independence without making any real move. Okay, because it's too dangerous. But they are kind of independent leaning. Okay, it's called the DPP. Okay, the other is nationalist. Anyway, every single time, with no exception, every time China or the CCP threatening Taiwan, DPP won. Nationalist lost. That has been the way. Okay, because why? Because it's a democratic country. When the CCP supported nationalists and called for unification and dam or pressure or attack the DPP, and then Taiwan people are not happy. When they are not happy, they cannot fight with the CCP, but they can fill the ballot at the voting time. So every time the CCP did that, and the DPP won. So this time, this around the island military drill at your virtually your doorstep, or even on your doorstep, that's going to trigger another landslide victory by the DPP in the upcoming November election. They got a midterm election in November too. So CCP will virtually just push Taiwan further and further from it. Okay, because CCP was using two ways to win Taiwan over. One is to buy them in. The second is to pressure them. So now increasingly, they gave up the buy way, only just use the threat. Use threat, and the threat always work against them, always with no exception. So as the CCP using this military drill or the pressure or the threat to keep pressure Taiwan, it would only push Taiwan further and further into the embrace of the U.S. And I just want to run a hypothetical theory. And I want to know how you think, okay? So before I get your answer, I do want to open up the chat room and see how you think about that, okay? And just want to get your opinion, all right? And so if CCP take a very, very harsh hand against Taiwan after Pelosi's visit, because this really just make them lose face, okay? In Chinese culture, losing face is a big matter. Make them lose face. Now they're gonna punish Taiwan, punitive. They will, just introduce punitive policy on the trade. They're gonna even block Taiwan. Okay, militarily, they're gonna block Taiwan, and then just all the strong hands. Taiwan is a weak country. It's a very small one. Okay, its military budget is only like $8.6 billion. All right, and then every time they buy a weapon from the U.S., they pay out of their own pocket. They don't have that much money, all right? So if they keep doing that, if they keep threatening Taiwan, have what? Taiwan has a democracy that we treasure. Taiwan also have a company called the TSMC, okay, which is the biggest chip company in the world, in the entire world, the most advanced and the biggest chip company in the world, all right? And we need that, we need the product from that company. And then would the U.S. be willing to arm Taiwan with Americans' money, just like how they arms Ukraine? If that happened, Taiwan will get a big boost. When they are armed with the U.S. military, they shall be able to fend off the CCP. The reason? Because there's a big, 250 miles Taiwan Strait. It's far more difficult than how Russia took over Ukraine, which they failed at doing so. So at that time, do you think that U.S. is willing to do that, or would you supporting that? Would you be supporting that by urging your Congress people, your representative, House representative, to support Taiwan in the military? with weapons, and then help this small island to fend off this big aggressor of Chinese Communist Party. And so what do you think? Type up, leave your comment there. I really want to learn about how you think. Anyway, I hope you got what I mean. It's a big drama. It's a reality show, and capture the attention of all people, especially all the Chinese people all over the world. Initially, there was this guessing. Then there was this observing whether Pelosi's airplane will be shot down, and then what would happen? What kind of big, explosion or big incident will happen? Whether any attack will happen during Pelosi's 19 hours in Taiwan, and then so on and so forth. Okay, ended up, CCP lost its face bigly, and then Pelosi just have her, smooth and time-taking trip in Taiwan and finish everything that she needs to do, and then just left Taiwan in a safe way. Okay, so that's that. So Louis, you said, yes, wait, but Taiwan combined with Vietnam, North Korea, Russia, there are many countries that don't like CCP or China, and they cannot fend them all off. Right, but I think it's a little different though. The Vietnam War, right? Behind the Vietnam War is China and the Soviet Union. So it's literally a proxy war. It's very difficult, I think, especially on our side, in my opinion. Okay, why we lost that war? We have our internal enemy in the 1960s. They are socialists, who linked up with the communists of China and the Soviet Union. So it's rather difficult. Okay, but I think Taiwan's different. Okay, there's Taiwan Strait. And then it's not easy to cross that street with all your logistic line not cut off. And then Taiwan people, I think they're determined. Ukraine set a good example for them. So I think, there's a good chance that Taiwan could protect themselves without possibly the military support of U.S. Maybe just weapon support before the war, rather than the personnel support during the war. That's how I see it. Okay, now let's move on. Yeah, just leave your comment, and I want to know how you think. Do you think it's an interesting topic for you? But it's very, very attention-catching in China, okay, and Taiwan. And Louis also said, I thought CCP was all ominous in their control of the information, etc. So there's more to this. Are we at a precipice in China where there are so many people resisting they cannot control? Okay, not yet. Okay, I think the control is very, very tight there. But the more they, the more they control it, the longer they control it, the final, explosion will be bigger. That's the way it is. And James Power, you said, probably the only time in my life I cannot say I'm proud of. Probably in only time, the only time in my life I can say I'm proud of Nancy Pelosi. Well done. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I would say fair enough. Let me tell you a story, okay? I'm from San Francisco, right? San Francisco is the most, I told you this story, I think. Yeah, anyway, it's called Beijing by the Bay, right? It was literally a city bought by the CCP, and with 25% of population being Chinese, and the CCP can control the city, control the mayor through, the Chinese voters. And then Nancy Pelosi was elected out of that. And she has been the most anti-CCP, Democrats in the city that is the most pro-CCP. So she managed to survive there politically. How? Two things, okay? She pretty much keep her human rights agenda in Washington, not locally, okay? And she tried to play peace with the pro-CCP force in the city. And in that way, she navigated through that in the last 33 years. Whether I like that or agree with that, of course, no, I don't. I don't. I think locally and federally, it should be the same. But that's what she is. But she clearly have an attitude, has a position on human rights, and she followed through that. She even willing to take the risk. Like in the 1991 on Tiananmen Square, she was arrested, interrogated by police, and finally let go after a few minutes, I think, or maybe 20, 30 minutes. And this time flew in, from Malaysia. She risked some, being shot down. And who knows? So U.S., who knows whether CCP will do that or not. But actually, to me, as an observer, okay, commentator, I knew that beforehand. They won't do anything. They won't do anything because barking dog never bite. Okay. Anyway, let's quickly move on to the midterm election. I don't know whether you know about the news. There has been kind of interesting development with this two-state, five-state primary: Missouri, Michigan, Arizona, Kansas, and Washington. All right. Okay. Well, first has to do with the abortion, which is energized Democrat quite a bit. Okay. There was a ballot referendum that would remove the right to abortion from the state constitution. Okay, that was put in front of the voters, and this is in Kansas. Okay, this is in Kansas, and this ballot was rejected. Okay, this referendum was rejected, and then the percentage of people who came out to vote is 50%, and compared to the 36% that was predicted before the primary. So Democrats read that as the abortion, the Roe v. Wade ruling, and triggered and motivated more people who side with abortion, right, to come out to vote. I don't know what's the final answer. This is only very, very early, one day after the election. We'll still have to observe that. But indeed, okay, the country has become more and more open to abortion, and but I still think the Supreme Court's overturning Roe v. Wade is right anyway. Okay, anyway, right? Because the federal government, including Supreme Court, has nothing to do with it. They should not infringe upon the right of the state, and they should leave this decision to the states. In this case, in Kansas, and then they seems to make a decision. They still want the abortion right. Let it be. Let it be. Let other states make their own mind. This is still conforming to the spirit, the very spirit of our Constitution, written by our founding fathers. So I don't know about you. This doesn't bother me. Okay. Anyway, that's the first thing. The second thing is, there's this 10 House Republican representatives who, vote to impeach Trump, and early last year, and then that move seems to be a career-ending move for them, for many of them, because out of this 10, 4 retired before they, even faced the primary election. They just choose not to run anymore, and one of them, Tom Rice of South Carolina, was defeated by a Trump-endorsed Republican a few months ago, and then another representative from California, David Valado, survived the primary night to remain on ballot in November. Okay, so 5 are gone, 1 stayed, 1 survived. Yesterday, the remaining 3, the remaining 4, 3 of them went into the primary. Okay, and one of them, Mr. Merger, I think, right? Mr. Major did not survive. Okay, lost his seat to another Trump-endorsed Republican candidate. And then 2 other people, they are both from Washington. Okay, Jamie Harana Butler and Dan Newhouse. Their race is too close to call. Okay, we're still waiting whether they're going to survive the primary or not. And then the last one is the Lisa Cheney, right? Liz Cheney. And her, in this month, she will face primary, and the chances are she will lost. So as high as 90% of them could be gone, and as low as 70%. So anyway, it seems like not a good move career-wise, okay, like a career-ending thing for them. That's what seems to be unfolding, okay? And then other things are just that the election in Arizona primary was quite attention-catching. Okay, Arizona, as you said, is one of the battlefield, right? And this time the Senate and the GOP, the state secretary of the state, and so on and so forth, all face this primary between the existing former Republicans versus Trump-endorsed Republican. And what is the most attention-catching is this race between Carrie Lake. I report to you, right? Carrie Lake, who was news anchor, okay, against Karen Tyler Robson. And then it was so close, they cannot call. Only at this moment, it's not even final now. But Carrie Lake already declared victory, and because she's leading by like less than 2%, and with 150,000 ballots remain uncounted. But she said as the counting went on, goes on, she will win more. So anyway, she declared she's going to win, and this is completely a newbie, right? She's completely an outsider. She was a news anchor for 20-some years in the major Phoenix television, and then she just gave up all her career, all the well-paying career, and throw herself into this election battle. And it seems so far so good for her. She's getting the candidacy to the November election for the governor of Arizona. Also, okay, the other one has to do with the Secretary of the State and Mr. Finchem, okay, Mark Finchem, and the Trump-endorsed candidate won over his opponent and then moved towards the November election, final election. And in Missouri, okay, the victor in the Republican primary for the state's open Senate seat, okay, Eric Smith, and they led several other state attorneys general in appealing to the Supreme Court in 2020 to take up and possibly throw out Biden's election victory in Pennsylvania, all right? And so that's that. And also in Michigan, okay, and Dixon, Miss Dixon, and she's a conservative commentator who won the Republican nomination for governor. And then, and she's a Trump-endorsed candidate. So largely, this seems to be pretty much Trump's endorsed candidate won over almost like across Arizona. And then, so it's going to be interesting. Okay, what kind of impact would that have upon the November midterm and the 2024 presidential election? Yeah, so that's that. I want to know how you think, and do you have any comment? And Sing Jili, you said her trip, Pelosi, I assume, her trip to Taiwan was just to deflect from her husband post-trial, and the fact that she finagled to get the judge changed. That was no other reason for her to review her itinerary. Well, okay, I know what you mean. And Curtis Bartle, you said you are right, but it was also to give China Taiwan EE. What does that mean? I don't know. Daniel Solomon, thank you for your donation. Thank you very much. And so, and ZZZ status, he said, we told Taiwan we would defend them. Yeah, I don't know. What's your attitude about Taiwan? This, there's this Taiwan caucus, right? Taiwan caucus in the Congress. One in the Senate called the Senate Taiwan Caucus. Out of 100 senators, how many members there? 33. 1/3 of our senators are in the Taiwan caucus, which means, pretty much it means the Friends of Taiwan. Okay, they will support, I think generally any act that is endorsed Taiwan. And then in the House Taiwan caucus, there are 229 people, 229 congressional members, out of 435, which is 52%. And if there's a law, a piece of legislation that support Taiwan, almost you can rest assured that it will pass House. And then in the Senate, they virtually already got 33 votes. So it's not hard for the House and the Senate to pass any strong law supporting Taiwan if there's a major crisis, okay, in Taiwan or major threat by Taiwan. And Biden, even though I think he's not too fond of fighting a war, I don't think he will veto such a law passed by the Congress. So Taiwan has very, very strong backing in the Congress. And I traveled to Washington, D.C. I work in the Congress as a reporter for a few years. I remember how that Taiwan caucus was built, okay, by those diplomats from Taiwan who are very humble, who are very persistent, who are very courteous, and who are very, they're just very strong. Okay, strong and persistent, and never, they view themselves as orphan of the international community. Okay, they're very alone. U.S., we deserted them, in the 1972 to win over China against Soviet Union. Okay, they lost their big ally, and then they're pretty much by themselves, and then they only have like 20 countries who have a foreign relationship with them, and those are tiny, teeny, like island country, like in the South Pacific or in the Caribbean or in the South, mid and South America, okay? And then how do they maintain them? They buy them out. They just buy them, and the CCP want to buy them too, so it's not a worthy battle, okay? And in those countries, they just vowing for money from one of them and make a decision on whether to maintain or cut their relationship with Taiwan. So it's just very sad, okay, over the years. But they've been, persistent. They they're basically hanging there for this many years. But it's a very kind country with a very kind people. They're very humble. They're very nice. They produce great things. And I went to Taiwan for 10 times, actually, in the last 15 years. I have great respect for them. So anyway, so maybe finally, in Chinese, we call it a 德不孤必有邻. If a country has, or a person have virtue, he will find good neighbors. Okay, people will take care of this person or this country. Let's hope that's the case, because I myself, I love Taiwan. And I love China too. I just don't like CCP, okay? So US, Taiwan, and China, the China with no CCP, shall be great allies, shall be great countries, for this world. All right, okay, that's all for today. And Hollis, you want to joke? I only have this little thing. Let's see whether this is gonna work. Okay. So how do you call the kitten, kid, right? How do you call a kitty communist party? What's the leader? What's the name of the leaders of the leader of the kitty communist party? Chairman Meow. Okay, sorry, I should not laugh, right? As the joke teller, I should not laugh. But anyway, okay, that would be all for tonight. Thank you very much. Kathy will be here tomorrow. We're trying to make this daily show. And thank you for staying with us tonight. I hope you have a great night, and I'll see you again. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye.